What's going on, everybody? It's your big homie, the Armchair Operator, and welcome to today's video. Now, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed today's content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Become a part of the family. We would love to have you. And if you're coming back to the channel, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you also enjoyed today's content. Now, as you saw by the title and the thumbnail, today we're talking about a Watchtower Type 15, this particular rifle, as you see right here. But before we get started, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping and some disclaimers. First of all, I am not selling any firearms on this channel. There are no firearms for sale by me whatsoever. This video is mainly for educational purposes only, and it was filmed in a safe and controlled environment. I do not have any ammunition in my review space, and the shooting portion of the video was done in a safe and controlled environment on a gun range. Okay, now the second part of the housekeeping part, I got to give a big shout out to basically the sponsors of this particular video. As you see it right here, the Bunker Gun Shop. They are the ones who provided this rifle for review. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with them, but if you're not, going over to the interwebs to check them out. They might have some interesting stuff that you might want to take a look at. All right. So with those things out of the way, thank you to Bunker for supporting the channel basically since day one. Now, back to the rifle. Now, if you've been in the gun space for any length of time, especially recently, the name Watchtower should sound familiar to a lot of people, specifically for their 2011s, the Watchtower Apache, and you know, the various iterations of that particular firearm. However, prior to that, they were actually more so an AR-15 manufacturer, and I believe they were called F1 firearms prior to being called Watchtower. Now, there was a lot of stuff that happened with that particular company, and as of recently, I'm not really going to go into all that right now. Today, we just want to focus on this product. So let me just show you the product in question in all its glory. Check this bad boy out. It basically comes as you see it right here, with the exception of this red dot. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to verify clear, you know how we always do. Therefore, let's see, magazine is empty. That chamber is empty. Can't even get my finger in there, y'all, but y'all see it's empty. And again, like I said, we're filming in a safe, controlled environment, and I'm going to reinsert this YouTube compliant magazine back in the firearm just to show you the for aesthetic purposes. Now, first impressions of this particular rifle out of the box is it's very lightweight. I really like the Cerakote finish. It's kind of like it's like a gray type of Cerakote. It's not rough or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's very, like, it's not super slick, but it's nice and smooth. You can feel the quality of this particular rifle the minute you pick it up. Okay, we have a 16-inch barrel here, which I believe is a government profile barrel, and we have this crazy 3-chamber muzzle brake that got like ports on the top, on the sides, all over the damn place. I mean, this thing looks really sick, and I'm going to get more into this particular part of the rifle when we talk more about the shooting portion. But just from the look and the aesthetics, it is very nice, and it's kind of slick. You know what I mean? I believe this is a type of PVD coating, so it actually feels really nice. And the bolt carrier group, as you can see right here, is of a similar finish. So I'm going to put the specs of the particular rifle on the screen. That way you can pause the video and you can read them. Just getting back to the visual effects, I really do like it. You could tell from the handguard that they have like a lot of lightning cuts on the side, like just above the M-lock slots. You know, they don't really serve any purpose, I don't think, other than to just make the handguard a little bit more lightweight. And, you know, it's a little bit more visually attractive, I must say. Of course, you got your standard M-lock slots, and you have your cutouts for your QD slots in the handguard. This is a 13.5-inch handguard, and Just speaking about my personal opinion, when I have a 16-inch rifle, I typically lean more towards the 15-inch handguards. I just like the look of those rifles. I mean, of that particular build. But with this, for some reason, this doesn't bother me. I actually like it, and I think a lot of that has to do with the muzzle brake. I don't know, but it looks nice. Moving on back, let's see. You got the upper and lower receiver. Now, here's the thing. For some of y'all AR purists, there is absolutely no wiggle room between the upper and lower receiver, like none at all. As a matter of fact, it's so tight that I actually had to use like my little plastic punch tool in my hammer set just to get the takedown pins out. So some of you may like that, some other people may not care, some people might not like that, but I'm just pointing it out for video purposes. Moving back from there, we have an ambidextrous aluminum safety, as you can see here. But I would say one of my favorite features of this particular rifle is that magazine release. So like, it's just so easy to get to. You got this, I guess you got this little aluminum edition. I'm really not sure what you call it. All I know is it makes dropping that magazine very easy. Like, you can just hit it and keep on going like it ain't nothing. Unfortunately, the magazine is only on one side, so unfortunately, you wrong-handed people, it's not going to be very friendly for y'all, but for the rest of us, we will be good to go. Of course, you got your bolt catch right here. The bolt catch is a little tiny little guy, but it gets the job done, right? And you have, I think one of the best features about this particular rifle is this Geisley trigger. So this is the Geisley SSA enhanced trigger, 2-stage trigger. So let me ghost that trigger right quick. Right, so let me just show you. Got a little bit of creep. Woo! And it's a soft break, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it's a soft break. Now here's the reset. That's it. Very nice. If I had to guess, I would say that trigger break is around 3.5 to 4 pounds. It's very light. Excellent trigger. I mean, Geisley is known for their trigger, so you already know if you got a Geisley trigger in your rifle coming out the gate, you got some quality here. Now, one of my criticisms about this particular rifle, just from a physical aesthetic portion of it, is the grip itself. Now, when it comes to looks, it looks good. It fits. It really looks like it's a part of the rifle as a whole. But when it comes to actually grabbing it, I'm not really a fan of skeletonized grips. I like the angle and all that, but all that negative space is just not comfortable for me. Now, for you might feel differently. If you like a skeletonized grip, then this would be right up your alley. Personally, if I were to purchase this rifle, this would probably be the first thing that I would change. This right here. And actually in the shooting footage, you'll see a different grip on it because it's just, I just couldn't get with it. But I mean, like I said, if you like a skeletonized grip, you'd be good. It's wrapped with a red paracord to kind of go with the overall aesthetic. Now, we also have a Magpul stock here, and I believe this is a 6-position buffer tube. Pretty standard. I actually like the Magpul stocks. You know, the cheek, it doesn't have the cheek riser like the B5 stocks that I'm more accustomed to, but there's something about this particular stock that just kind of melts into my shoulder whenever I'm presenting the rifle. So I really do dig that. It also comes with your 2nd generation PMag, as you see right here. It does not come with the red dot. This is my Sealy T3 that I use for review purposes and all that. It does come with this Magpul NVG M-Lock vertical foregrip. And one of the things that I also really like about the Watchtower, it does come in this nice big black rifle case, as you see right here. Pause. So I'm just going to open this up real quick just to show y'all what it looks like on the inside. It's nothing, you know what I mean? It's a rifle case. What do you expect? See, I don't know if you can see that, but basically this is what you get. And I will give credit where credit is due. A lot of high quality rifle manufacturers give you a cardboard box with the product. Some companies actually take a step up and give you an actual hard case. So shout out to Watchtower, if they're still around, for giving us a nice hard case with the rifle. Now, to my next criticism about this particular gun is more so about this piece here. It looks fantastic, and believe me when I say it does the job very well, albeit a little bit too well in my opinion for an indoor setting. For an outdoor setting, I think it'd be perfectly fine, especially if you're running this off of a bench rest or a bipod or a tripod. But with that being said, let's head on over to the range and let's get into the details about this particular rifle and close it out. Oh, well, one thing real quick before we head to the range. It has a QD point here. So you got your QD point here. Of course, you got your QD points in the stock here. And of course, you got your QD sections inside of the handguard as well. Sorry, I forgot that. But anyway, let's head on over to the range. All right, welcome to the range. That's another review. We got the Watchtower down here. I already got it sighted in. 25 yard zero. This is what we're looking like. This is my first group. This is the second group, and that's the last group. So I got about 6 magazines loaded up. We're running about 20 rounds each, okay, YouTube compliance, and we're running a smorgasbord of PMC bronze 223. We're running a Igman 223, and we got some Winchester white box 5.56. We're gonna run through this bad boy. So right now we're just gonna see how it runs. So enough talking, let's do some shooting. A couple takeaways with that first magazine. Yeah, a couple takeaways. For whatever reason, the muzzle dips every time the bolt carrier goes back in the battery. I'm not sure if that's the brake or if the gun is so light, or maybe that's just the way they have the buffer system sprung in this thing. The other thing that I've noticed is that it's gassy as hell. Now, mind you, I'm not running a can, as you can see. It does have that 3-chamber brake that have all kinds of crazy ports and stuff like that. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not really sure. Let's load another mag up and let's go again. One thing I like about this rifle is it is lightweight. Very smooth. Let's check the target. As you can see with that brake on the end, man, this thing is gassy as hell indoors. And that was the result of the rapid fire. It's a smooth shooting rifle for sure. And it's weight, so that helps it out a lot. One other criticism that I would have about it, and personally, it's not something that I would want to run indoors for an extended period of time just because of that brake. It's actually a little worse than running a suppressor. But outdoors, you should be good with it. I don't know why it keeps dipping after each shot. I think it's just the way they have the muzzle device timed. That's my suspicion. But I mean, so far, it's a good shooter. But anyway, let's change the target. Let's load up and put some more rounds down range. This time we're going to go to 15 yards. All right, now we got the target set up at 15 yards. This time we're going to slow it down and be a little bit methodical with the trigger pull. Let's use the fancy red Lancer magazine. you didn't know, red is my favorite color, which means this is my favorite magazine. It's YouTube compliant, just so you know. One thing I will say about this brake, as it's time, so it's pushing the muzzle down a bit much, especially with it being so light. So when you're pulling it, if you don't have a whole rifle, you're going to want to compensate for that push down from the muzzle. God. Let's check the target. Not too bad for 15 yards. Lost a couple of them when I was picking up that cadence with the trigger pull. Like I said, all in all, it's a good, well-shooting rifle. It's reliable, at least so far from my testing. Like I said, I have my nitpicks about it. I mean, nothing's perfect, but again, like I said, the brake is just a bit too much indoors. Outdoors, you're good. Now, you could always change and put your own muzzle device on there if you want to, so that's something to keep in mind. The brake looks sick and it does its job well. I think a little bit too well. But anyway, let's run this last magazine and then we're gonna head on back to the review space and close this thing out. All right, now let's finish this out. Y'all know I can't bring no loose ammo home now. You know we gotta use this. You don't leave until the job is done. And we are out. And here is the final result. It's accurate, it's lightweight, it's soft shooting. Overall, it's a decent rifle. But let's head on over to the review space so I give y'all my final thoughts. And welcome back. So, did y'all notice how much gas that this thing put out on the range with this muzzle brake? That's kind of what I meant when I said it does its job a little too well. I felt like I was running a suppressed firearm after a while, to be perfectly honest with you. But what's interesting about this gun is the fact that, like, now, all right, let me just say it like this. Most times when you fire any firearm, whether you're talking about a handgun or a rifle, you're used to that muzzle climbing upwards when you shoot. But this thing actually pushes the muzzle down a bit and then it comes back to center. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting recoil impulse, and personally, I myself have not shot a firearm that had that type of recoil impulse. So it did take me a little while to get used to it. But once you get used to it, man, you could go to town with this thing. But again, being indoors and with all that extra gas from the muzzle brake, this Dragon Slayer muzzle brake, I think that's what they call it, it just got to the point, man. I was literally, I had the tears of freedom, man. It was getting into my eyes. I had to slow down my shots, as you probably saw in the footage, just because of all that gas. But if you're outdoors, or like I said, if you're outdoors and you're got a lot of space, I don't think that'll be an issue for you, okay? But at the same time, when you're talking about an AR, ARs are like a grown man's Lego. You could pretty much take that off and put your muzzle device of choice up there. So that would, again, if I were to purchase this firearm, at some point I would change the muzzle device, not because it's not a good muzzle device, but only really because me personally, I would want something that I could put on here and I could attach a suppressor to. So that's one of the big reasons I would change this. I would go with something probably like a Huxworth muzzle device, so that way I could just get like I plan on getting a Huxworth cant at some point in the near future, so that way I could just throw that QD up on there and call it a day. All right, or maybe I might go to Surefire route and grab a B&T can or a SOCOM Mini. I don't know, but the point of the matter is I would definitely put a muzzle device on here that I could suppress. Now, if I was to straight just build this out as a distance gun, what I would want maximum amount of accuracy and precision, then I would keep that. I would throw a bipod on here, maybe a PRS stock, a LPVO, or some other, you know what I mean, variable optic, and I would use it as that. But if you're talking about a straight carbine, I don't know about that. But anyway, that's up to you, the future owner or the owner or whatever. That's for you to decide. But overall, this is a great rifle. It was very soft shooting. It's lightweight. It comes in at 7 pounds. Now, granted, I don't have a lot attached to the rifle, but still, it's pretty lightweight, and the recoil impulse is very nice. And a lot of that probably has to do with the buffer spring and the weight in here. I didn't take the buffer spring or the buffer assembly out, so if I were to guess, it would probably have like an H2 or H3 buffer system in there, but that's just the way it feels to me while shooting. But overall, I really think this is a very solid rifle, and it will make a worthy addition to your collection should you decide to choose it. Oh, and one last thing, this ambidextrous charging handle. It's very nice. I will say it's also is skeletonized. That's the other thing I missed here. Let me show you if I can show you. So you see you got those ports up in there. I guess that's to reduce the weight. I don't know. Let me get a closer look. Show y'all. It is, you know what I mean? It reduces the weight. One thing that I did notice about it is that sometimes, like with lock back on the last round, this thing will kind of like shoot back. So just, you know what I mean, just so you're aware, you know what I mean, it didn't hit me or anything like that, but I did notice that a couple times on lockback as I was, you know what I mean, as I was running the rifle. But all in all, like I said, personally, is this something that I would buy? Yes, I absolutely would buy this, and I think that whoever decides to buy it will have themselves a damn good firearm. But anyway, I'm going to end it there, y'all. What do you think about the Watchtower Type 15? Let me know down in the comment section, y'all. Let's get this discussion popping. Oh, and one last thing. If I didn't mention this, this is actually a special version of the Type 15. It is let me get the actual name for y'all. This is the Navy SEAL Robert O'Neill rifle, the NSRO. So this is not your garden variety Type 15. This is Robert O'Neill's version of the Type 15. This is the reason why it looks a little bit different than some of the other ones that you've seen in the past. And this was, from my research, a limited edition rifle. So if I were you, if you like a good AR, if you like a Watchtower AR, handle your business, my G, and look into this. But anyway, that's it. That's enough. I done kept y'all long enough. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is your big homie, the Armchair Operator, and I'm signing out, y'all. Peace.